Hello and welcome to the Work for Change podcast. It's ja boy Jean with the silent Jean or something like that.
He forgot how to do it because he freaking skipped last week.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, we did.
Rude.
Yeah, we did.
No, you did. I podcast. It just didn't get up because you didn't put it up.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's not true.
You just talked to yourself for an hour. And
yeah, I didn't even record
didn't even hit record.
It was when I was
like, I think this is how podcasts work.
Yeah, Jean's not here to do it for me. That's not even true, okay? I do it on my own all the time. And it's your other host, John with the silent H. Welcome to episode 111 of the Work for Change podcast, also known as 111.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a doozy for you. We got a lot of crazy things.
And nothing is actually not that crazy.
No.
It's pretty like expected, I would say now, actually.
Just middle of the road, you know?
Yeah. So why didn't we have a podcast last week?
Well, it was, it was both our faults.
It was, yeah.
But last week I was coming down with the case of the COVID. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't want to subject you to talking to me in a room.
Yeah, well, because that's when you were you were pretty much asymptomatic. Like, you didn't really have any symptoms. But yeah, I mean, I really wasn't in the mood to sit in a room with you for an hour.
Yeah.
Plus.
I think that's how I got it. Like, I'll just from the very beginning.
From what? Doing a podcast?
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I got tested. We'll get into it, but
yeah.
Okay.
So, I work at a church.
We're not joking, by the way. I know we're kind of like this. He really did have it.
Yeah, so, I really did have COVID.
He really
I did have
COVID.
the vid.
Yeah.
And I work at a church, and for the most part, we're following all regulations, guidelines. We've been closed for the past 2 weeks.
The only difference is that they just kiss every single time they see each other.
That's what the Bible says, greet each other with a holy kiss. So you have to. Otherwise, you're in sin.
That's John Uriah 14:37.
No, that actually is a verse.
Is it really?
Yeah. Greet each other with a holy kiss.
Oh, man. I could just see those perverts using
That's one of those things where it's like culture over.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I have to greet you with a holy kiss. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, sorry. And I got to kiss you on the cheek, but it might be so close to your mouth that you get a little lip. But don't worry, it's biblical.
Oh, man. Okay, let's not do that.
Yeah, so there's we pretty much are following guidelines. We're doing pretty good. Some of our meetings it'll be like in an office, but we'll have our seats set apart. And there was one guy who got COVID. I think it was before he knew, like before the symptoms showed up. And then I was in 2 meetings with him, and so I was just like, crap, okay, here we go. I went through the whole time where I didn't have any scares, like 10 months, and I haven't had any scares.
Yeah, I actually haven't. This was my first one.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been pretty good about it. Like, I haven't been the lock myself in a room, don't talk to anyone, and make everyone feel bad for not doing the same thing level.
That was me.
Yeah, but I haven't been like go out and go to break the rules and go to the restaurants that have decided to stay open just as a middle finger to what I mean. Like, I feel like the standard person who's trying
I would say you've been pretty middle of the road.
Yeah,
not super far on either side.
Yeah, and so this was like my first scare, if you will. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I went and I got a test and I was negative. And I was like, cool, great. Like, and this was a couple days later.
Because you guys found out that he tested positive, right? Yeah. And then everyone at the church tested, right?
Yeah, everyone who was in the room, in the meetings and stuff like that.
In the room when it happened.
Yep. And so I continue doing what I do, got a negative test. I'm pretty happy about that. And about 2 Thursdays ago, I was just kind of like stuffy nose, and like, if you want to get totally graphic, like, I had to go to the bathroom a lot, like a lot of poop,
nice.
And pee.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It wasn't just poop, you guys. Okay.
Yeah. And like, no, but legitimately, we'd be at one place, whatever. Like, I'd be at the church or I'd be blah blah, and then I'd drive somewhere else. I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom again. Like it just like kept all the time. I needed to go. I thought that was kind of weird. But
It's so weird how many different symptoms there are.
yeah.
Like I've heard like pretty much if you lose taste and smell, like that's for sure you have it. From
Yeah.
what I've heard,
Which I didn't.
But like, yeah, I know you didn't. I don't think Sam did either, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, there's so many symptoms.
Yeah.
And it's like it could be your scratchy throat. It could be this. It could be that. So now anytime that I feel literally anything, like I'm like I do have COVID.
Yeah.
Like I went on a run and it was really cold, so my lungs were like burning, and then I'm done, and I'm like a few hours afterward, I'm like, oh no, I have COVID, and I'm like, wait, I just freaking ran. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
And so, anyway, I thought I had a head cold, and I even told Sam that day, I'm like, I think my body's fighting something. Like, I think I'm kind of I'm like, I don't get sick often at all.
Yeah, me and you both don't.
And so I was just like, I think my body's trying to fight something off. And then a couple days later, probably I think Saturday was the day that Sam was just like out. She did not feel good. Super exhausted, tired, stuffy, everything, all that stuff. Like when she breathes in really heavy, she like coughs. You know what I mean? Just all that type of stuff. And then so she's like, I'm gonna get a test. I'm like, okay. And so she went, she got tested, she did a rapid test, and then she tested positive. And that was like throughout this quarantine, that was like obviously not the whole thing, but the part where we knew Sam was pregnant, we were like, okay, we need to definitely be cautious because we don't know what this does to pregnancy. We don't know what this does.
Well, diabetes too, right?
And her diabetes, which everyone was always like, if you have diabetes, you're extra at risk. And so the big thing there is if you have unmanaged diabetes, like luckily for Sam,
she has the most managed diabetes.
Yeah, she keeps her A1C, she keeps everything like right in track. So it's like her body probably doesn't even know it has diabetes because of how on top of like the blood sugar and insulin and all that stuff she is. So, her body definitely knows she has diabetes.
She's watching us. She's right next to us.
I know. I'm not trying to
she's in a
make her illness any less, a big deal. And so when she got it, I had to let everyone know at work. Okay, hey, my wife got COVID. I'm gonna get a test. And so I got a test. I took a regular test. I think I had to wait until Monday for the next appointment or something. And by Tuesday of the next week, I got a positive result. And they asked me about my symptoms. I did all that, told them, and they said, okay, here's your end date, And for the most part, like, I've come out unscathed.
Yeah,
like,
you were like,
I was stuffy.
Maybe, yeah. I think for like a day, though, right?
Yeah. And then I was tired.
Yeah. So for me, when we found out, I went and got a test right away, and I luckily didn't have COVID. It wasn't like a rapid test; it was like a legit test because I know people are like the rapid tests are like kind of inconclusive. I think like if you have it, it's like pretty accurate, but if I don't know. But it was a regular one, so. Then once we figured that out, we kind of like, luckily here we have 2 levels. So basically it was just like I was in the bottom level, they were at the top level. And it was definitely weird. It's weird sharing a house with someone that has COVID when you don't. Because it's hard not to feel like you have to, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like Resident Evil or something. Yeah. Like I don't know. It was very strange. Like it was a very strange feeling. Like having to be like.
Well, I do have the T virus.
Okay.
So I will be turning into a zombie.
But it was like if I walk into a room and I see that they're in there, like put on my mask or they have their mask. It was just weird. I don't know. It was a very strange feeling. Luckily, we're all out of it now. Like this is in the past, and I think. But yeah, okay. So you had the stuffiness. Sorry, I totally interrupted.
No, you're good. Yep, just stuffiness, and then I will say the thing that's carried on the longest, and it feels like such a cheap symptom, like is like just tiredness. Like it is like I'm dog tired by like 7 p.m. and it's really hard for me to get out of bed in the morning. Like I'm just tired.
Which for you, you're a morning person.
Yeah, I typically wake up 4:30.
Very easily. Yeah. You haven't been waking up as early, huh?
No,
I've noticed that. Yeah.
That's just because of this past 2 weeks.
You were on. They found out they had it on their vacation.
Yeah, and we were on a.
That sucks, man.
We were on a staycation that was supposed to be a baby moon, where we were supposed to go to like Huntington Beach and just
But
enjoy a
everything's
week
still
away,
closed,
but
yeah.
everything's still closed. In LA, Orange County is even worse than it is in San Diego. So then we ended up staying here, and then we ended up getting COVID.
It was probably good that you guys ended up that everything was closed though,
Yeah.
because it made you stay home.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I haven't been waking up as early as I normally do.
Like, cause you like when John says he wakes up early, he wakes up at like 4.
Yeah, 4:30.
4, yeah.
Sometimes I wake up before my alarm and it makes me angry. And that'll be like 4.
Really?
Yeah.
I like waking up. Like if I have an alarm and I wake up before it, I'm always happy about that.
No, I'm like,
I
come
hate
on,
the
that's like
ding,
30.
ding, ding, ding.
That's
And I'm
30
like,
more
what?
minutes of sleep I could have got.
Yeah.
But I have not. I like today, like the past couple of days, I'll wake up and I'll get out of bed at like 8, which is so late
it's
for
so
me.
late, yeah.
But I'm just allowing myself, like I'm giving myself.
Well, yeah,
it
you
lingers
gotta-
for a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
So like I'm trying to not be hard on myself, and
Have
it's
you
easy
noticed-
to be hard on myself. But
Have you noticed like during your workouts and stuff? Because I know we're gonna get into the spin bike and stuff because you've been liking that. Like,
Yeah.
do you feel like it's affecting your workouts really or not really?
No.
No.
no, I don't feel any shortness of breath. I don't feel like my heart rate today. I think I got up to 177 going like during some of the sprints and the hills.
Dude,
and
that
intervals.
reminds me of something. We'll get. Oh, yeah.
But like I don't feel like hindered. Like I can't put like my average heart rate for a 30-minute workout will be like 165.
Oh, God, we're getting
Yeah.
back into the heart rate zone. Oh no.
But so I don't feel like it's affected that. But what it has done is like I've already been in a weird, like everyone is in a weird position when it comes to COVID. I feel like, and I'm not at all gonna like get into the nuts and bolts because it's just a big fight.
Days and nuts.
But
Got him.
it's hard because I was already on I'm more libertarian in my beliefs of like let's regulate ourselves. Let's let that kind of be the case. Let's not have Big Brother tell us how we're supposed to do things, right? So let's be smart about it, but don't mandate everyone to be forced to stay at home or whatever. That's more of the leaning I have. And so it's very weird for me because I know personally it didn't affect me that much. I did stay home. I was smart when I had it. When I knew I had it, when I was infectious, I was smart beforehand, trying to be cautious of other people, knowing that there is a very at-risk percentage of people out there. So for their sake, okay, let me be smart. The hard thing is when it affected me so little. It's hard in my mind to be like, then why did we shut down the world for this? But I also know personally within the church, working on staff, you hear about all the stuff that goes on. Many people from our church who have died. Like either they attended our church and now they are dead.
Yeah.
Or they attended our church and their mom or their dad or their brother
yeah.
or their cousin or their whatever died. And they are working through that. And like, no matter what it is, like politicized or not politicized, like death sucks.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And so I'm also very sympathetic towards the fact that I don't want to just be like, it's just stupid. It wasn't that big of a deal. Because for some people, it dramatically changes their lives. And there are other people who didn't die, but they have been on ventilators for a couple weeks, or they haven't been able to get out of bed because they have shortness of breath.
Yeah.
So it's a very it's a very weird spot to be in, and I'm very thankful for my health that it didn't, like health, not just like fitness, but like health, wellness. I'm very thankful that it didn't take a big chunk out of that for me. But at the same time, like I want to be sympathetic towards the people who.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's hard. Like it's definitely a hard situation to be in. Like it's. I understand where you're coming from, like as far as like the libertarian being kind of like let people do what they want and they'll make the best decision. But the thing that's like I don't know that I've noticed is like it seems like a lot of times people just kind of don't like how do you like that? My question is when I hear that is like okay, well, like should the government punish someone if they know that they're positive and they're still out and about doing stuff? You know what I mean? Like because people are going to do that. You know what I mean? Like that's just a fact.
Yeah,
which
I don't
is
know.
sad.
I mean, do they? But they don't punish people now.
I know, but I'm not saying that they should. But I'm just like when you say like people should do what they want and they'll make the best decision. A lot of times people just don't.
Yeah.
And like they're negligent and they're just people just care about themselves only, you know? Like with like, I know that you and Sam made the right, well, you know, right, depending on who you're talking to, I guess, but made the decision to stay home and wait until you guys were allowed to be outside, right?
Yeah.
But there's like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that wouldn't do that. I don't know. It's just like,
yeah, it's weird. Like, it's the same thing. Like, we had at our high school, we had, there were bars in all of our windows, which, like, some high schools don't even worry about that, right? Mm-hmm. But then for other people, they're like, are you sure you have bars on your windows?
Yeah.
And it's not for the 99% of the person. It's for that one person who's going to be an idiot and try to break in. And so it's like, how many restrictions do you put on general society based on that small percentage's actions?
Yeah.
Which is like a totally deeper question that goes far beyond COVID. And I think we were talking about this before. Like, this has exposed that we don't know how to protect the vulnerable population while still allowing
the rest of the world to move. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and there needs to be a way to do that. And I think, like, if this was another part of me, another like thing that I wrestle with is like, if this was the bubonic plague, okay, that killed 1/3 of Europe, there were like
freaking crazy
boils, and you had fevers, and you had like rashes and weird things all over your face, and you looked sickly. Like, if people were out looking like that, it'd be people would be like, no, I'm not going outside. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But like, since it wasn't that, for so like, no one
Thankfully.
looked. Yeah. No one looked like they were had a plague put upon them. And so I think that was part of why people were like, this doesn't look like that big of a deal. Yeah. Versus like, if people were walking around with boils all over their face because of it, I think it'd become a lot more.
I mean, it's hard to decide. It's hard to take things away from yourself to protect someone else, right? Because that was kind of the whole reasoning behind it, right? It's like, it's not about you, it's about grandma, right? That's kind of what people have said. And at first, like, I mean, I know for me, at first it was like, yeah, let's do it. But then it got harder. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like it got hard. The gyms are still closed. Yeah. Like, the gyms opened and they closed, and they opened and they closed, and so it's hard. Like, I'm right now really frustrated. We'll get into this more, but like, I'm training for a triathlon and I can't swim anywhere. Yeah. And it's like, frick, man, I want to train. You know what I mean? But like, I get it. I understand why, but it doesn't stop the fact of me being like frustrated.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I mean, I get it.
So all it's done is like, it's it has definitely caused things to be more gray. And like, the people who say there's no gray, like, those are the ones where I'm like, let me stay away from you. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of nuance in circumstances and situations. It definitely has caused me. I don't want to. There's a political extreme side that I have become very distasteful of. That most of the people I would associate probably are in. And it's definitely like left me distasteful towards that.
Yeah.
But that's the problem when you politicize a virus, right?
I won't. Yeah, I won't.
Like, we won't.
I won't pry anymore on that.
I don't want to.
You don't want to talk about it.
No.
Okay, so tell me about. So you've been really liking the spin bike, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about that. And what? We're so similar with stuff. Like, when we get excited about stuff, we just go from 0 to 100. So what were you telling me literally right before we started this podcast?
Well, we talked about the spin bike last time. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still liking it. It's a great way. Like, I think here's one of the reasons. If we're gonna be totally honest, right? I'm reading Atomic Habits still. It's taken me a long time to get through that book, but I'm also reading
just a few years.
I'm reading 3 books at once, so that doesn't help me at all. Right now, my wife is looking at me from the corner of her eye, and she's like doing the fingers pointing in the eyes, and then looking at me like I have to be careful for what I'm going to say, which I don't know what she thinks I'm going to say. But I think the reason in Atomic Habits, what it says is like, if you want to make a habit stick, make it as easy as possible, right? Like, that's one of the ways. It's like,
with the gym, that's like
with everything. Like, he says, like, hey, if you want to make a habit of going to the gym, find one that's on your way to work. because you're already going to work.
Yeah.
So you might as well stop by the gym. Like stuff like that, which
Yeah.
that doesn't work for everyone, but it's little principles along those lines. And so it's like make it as easy as possible with the least amount of resistance. I think the reason why I like cycling so much is I don't need to warm up at all.
Yeah, I get
I
it.
legitimately am just like, all right, well, I'm going to take this class and there's going to be 4 minutes of warm up.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, and then the muscles that need to be warmed up are warmed up, and then
Yeah.
it's like good to go. Whereas like with CrossFit and stuff, like you and I both are just not, our bodies don't naturally go in those positions.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, today's front squats. Cool. Let me warm up my wrists. Let me
Yeah,
warm up my
like, takes
triceps.
20
Let me
minutes to
warm
warm
up my
at
shoulders.
least.
Let me warm up the front rack. Let me get my ankles ready to go. And then let me warm up my hips. All right, now let's do our first squat.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
Which,
part of
I
me,
mean, there would be people that would say the problem is that you shouldn't be doing all that, which is, you know, like I know CJ was a big like proponent. My physical therapist is like, you should just be doing the movement to warm up.
yeah,
But,
I mean,
like,
I can
for
see
me,
that, but it's like,
I agree,
it's the
but I'm
ugliest
like,
movement
yeah,
out there.
I'm like, I agree, but holy smokes, man, my
Yeah.
front squat looks so bad if I don't warm
Yeah.
up. Like,
Yeah.
it's It's like not just embarrassing. It's like it feels dangerously bad. Like I'm gonna hurt myself.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah. And so obviously like there are people who will go like 45 minutes early and roll everything out to get like I was never like that, but it still was like
But then you just like you
But it's
do that
still,
for
like-
2 years and it's like, okay, man, like
yeah. And then it's like I am so like when you spend you have 20 minutes to build up to a heavy max and like 7.5 to 10 minutes as you just feeling comfortable in the movement, it's just kind of like, all right, now I have 10 minutes. Like, let me try to get this lift in.
yeah.
So I will say the nice thing is like it's nice to be able to just like, all right, I'll do
You have 45 minutes and in
Yeah.
45 minutes you are done.
yeah, and it's like
Period.
dance hits with Bakari. Okay, 45 like, and that's the same reason why I love CrossFit though. Is like if I didn't really care that much, I could show up at 5:30,
Yeah.
do the PVC pipe warm up, and have like somewhat mobility. It's not like
Yeah.
I'd be a brick wall, and be able to do class, warm up for the Metcon, do the Metcon, leave, and it's 6:30, and that's an hour. Perfect. That was the reason why I liked CrossFit so much was like that class time.
Well,
I don't need to think about the
That's what I
workout.
was gonna say. You don't have to think about it
Yeah.
too.
And so I'm excited for doing both. I just like right now our gym's I feel bad, but our gym's still working out outside, and it's like I've got a pretty cool garage gym that
Yeah.
I can work out inside with. And so it's like part of me is like, yeah, I kind of abandoned the community there, but it's like I still have the membership.
Yeah.
Like got charged today, my first time in a long time since I've been a coach. Like, all right, yeah, I still have a membership. I'm still doing it, but anyway, I was talking to you beforehand, and I'm like, I really like this. I see myself doing it more. Now I just need to save up $2,000 for Peloton.
I'm not surprised at all because we're the same in that like we get into stuff and then it's like you're super into it.
But I don't want to. We bought a $300 Amazon bike, and Apple Fitness is $9.99 a month, but we got a trial with our Apple Watch, and so it's like,
And I got the iPad.
and you got the iPad, yeah, and so it's like, for $300 on this bike, and I haven't paid anything for Apple Fitness yet, but $9.99 a month, like I've got a really solid workout regimen.
Similar to Peloton. Yeah.
Similar to Peloton. It's the same, it's the same thing. It's just different. But it's like my body doesn't know that.
Yeah.
My body's not like, oh, well, this is a Peloton class, so I'm actually going to work harder. It's like I'm getting resistance. I'm getting movement. I sweat up a storm today on it. Like burning calories. I got the challenge because it's that freaking burn bar, which makes me want to push harder than everyone. And I got first place today.
It's funny. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's funny because I remember thinking, and then I talked to you, and then this is when you brought up wanting to get a bike. But I was thinking, because I've been like training for this triathlon, and I was like running, but like running for both of us can be difficult. But I was like, then I started biking a lot, right, on the indoor trainer that I use. And I remember thinking, like, Jean would really like this. Like,
Yeah.
I think you would like cycling. Like, and I still think you would like cycling. Like, if you actually got
Like
into,
actually outside cycling.
oh well, I mean that, or like indoor cycle. Like, yeah, maybe you'd like doing a triathlon. I don't know, but like, I think like cycling just in and of itself, I think you would enjoy. And so I just remember thinking the reason I thought that was because when you try and run, your lower back blows up.
Yeah.
And so, but with cycling, that's never an issue for me, you know. But you still
Today
get,
it was today it was warm. Like my lower back was like,
Yeah.
but I also, the problem is I've stopped mobilizing. Like now that I don't have to, I'm like,
Yeah, and I think because you were sick too, though. Like, you're tired or you're not like in the morning. That's when you did that, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's fair to be like I stopped doing everything because you kind of didn't have the option. I mean, you did, but you're sick. You could allow yourself to be sick, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was funny. So for me, little update: I have been training for the marathon. For the triathlon.
Marathon, you've already done that.
Have I talked about like what distance I'm doing?
I don't think you've talked about any of that stuff. And if you did, it was
maybe it was
a year ago when you thought you were.
Yeah, and it got shut down. So okay, so I'll give a little bit of a backstory. So last year, I wanted to do a triathlon. I signed up for a triathlon, and it was going to happen, and I was really excited. But sadly, last year was last year. So the triathlon that I was going to do, I believe, was in June or July, and that obviously didn't happen. Got shut down. And then, so then I was like, okay, I was really bummed, but I ended up getting some like triathlon shorts, and I was ready to train, and I bought like a swim cap thingy.
You gave me those shorts, those Rokas that have like padding at the butt.
Yeah.
Are those for triathlons?
Those are triathlon
those
shorts.
Aren't like running. Those aren't biking shorts.
I mean, you could wear them biking, but they're not that padded. Like the biking shorts I have are much more padded.
Oh yeah, the padding. I mean, the bike that we got off Amazon
has padding. Yeah,
it's like freaking. It's like a child's bike seat.
Yeah,
with so much padding on
it. You don't need padded shorts.
No,
but those are the ones I bought. They're too small. Like they're like very tight. But so I bought those.
I put those on for my first cycling, and I felt stupid, so I took them off.
No one saw you.
Well, you were outside, and I didn't want to be judged by you, so I didn't.
Whatever. So I bought those. I got a swim cap. I got goggles, and I was like ready to go. And then everything got shut down, and so I couldn't even practice. Like swimming outside, anything. So, and then after that, but then I was like, okay, well, I can still cycle and run. So I bought a bike, and I was cycling, and then I hurt my back, and then like when my back was messed up, I couldn't run for sure, and then cycling for a while I couldn't do because just being bent over and stuff, it just wasn't. My back wasn't happy. So it was just like I had a lot of roadblocks in the way, but I'm finally healthy, and I'm starting to work with a coach. Her name is Natasha. She's the coach that coaches Nick Bear, and she's her own triathlete. She's an Ironman. She's a beast. It's actually, I think like the correct term is Ironman, even if you're a woman. I think that I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But she's like a beast in that, and she coaches, and she's also a BPN athlete. So it's not like it's free. I'm paying for it. But
I don't know if this is accurate, but I know that at least in Star Wars, all the clones when they talk to Ahsoka, they say "sir."
Yeah.
So it might be like
something like that. I don't know, but so I'm working with her, and we've been working together for probably about 2 weeks now. And it's been really nice. Like, it's just nice having pointed training that I'm not just like, okay, I'm going to bike for an hour, I guess, or I'm going to run for 4 miles. I don't know.
So Nike a couple years ago had a saying that was like, stop exercising, start training.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a difference in there? Like knowing, okay, like before it was like, this is a loose goal to get me eventually ready for maybe eventually doing a triathlon.
Yeah, that's kind of where it was.
Now you have a coach who's like...
I have a coach now. It still feels a little bit like I'm not 100% there yet because I still can't swim, like because everything is still closed here. And whenever I bring that up, like, you're in San Diego, just swim in the ocean. I can barely swim, so like trying to learn how to swim and do like actual swim workouts, you can't do that in the ocean. Mm-hmm. It's just not how it works. So I have to wait for
you're dealing with tides, and you're dealing with
like
waves,
so much more, man.
Tide pool, and rip current, and all that.
So hopefully the gyms are going to open soon. I mean, I feel like we're moving in that trajectory. Like outdoor eating is open now, so like things are starting to open again, but they could close. I know.
That's happened.
I know.
That's happened already.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. So, but I mean, I do feel like I am kind of like starting on something because we are working towards something. Like yesterday, from recording this, I went on a 5K run, and it was like a time trial, right? So it was like actually like go hard, right? And so I got a PR on my 5K, which was 26:38, I believe, which isn't the fastest, but I'm happy with that time.
Yeah,
It's definitely, I can definitely improve it, like for sure. Like I know for a fact, like because even as I was running it, I was like, I probably could have ran harder, but I was like afraid. I didn't want to go out too hard because I didn't want to be the guy who goes out too hard and then dies and if it takes 12 minutes to finish my last mile. You know what I mean? But I definitely was a little bit too conservative. But the thing that's been really interesting is like kind of what you were talking about, like the stop exercising, start training. For me, that has actually meant bringing down the intensity, because for me, I'm always like, I have that CrossFit mindset of like push it hard all the time. And a lot of my training, I would say 75 to 80% of my training, whether it's running or biking, has been like pretty chill. Like the workouts have been pretty easy, but like they haven't been super high heart rate. Which brings me to another point.
Heart rate zones, huh?
No. It brings me to another point. Dude, my heart rate is so weird. Like my highest heart rate is like 170. Like, and that's like max. That's weird. That's low.
Well, I mean, mine is 180.
Yeah, but like, dude, it's like
181,
most of my
I think.
workouts, my heart rate is like 125 beats per minute.
Yeah.
And like that's like my it's just weird. Like I talked to Natasha and she said, yeah, just some people have lower heart rates than others.
Yeah.
Like because she had a workout where it was like do your like 180 heart rate minus 20, which is, or minus your age, which is it's like this maffetone heart rate, which is supposed to be like a really good heart rate for like pretty chill. But I was like, if I did 180 minus 20, for me, that's like peak heart rate. That's like, I cannot sustain that.
Yeah.
Like for me, my maffetone is like 125, which is like 30 beats below most other, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
And so, but apparently it's like totally not that big of a deal. She's like, yeah, I've worked with other people that's like that. But it's just like, cause like I posted the 5K time and it had like my average heart rate and max heart rate. And people were like, whoa, dang, that's crazy. At that heart rate, you ran that. I was like, that's a high heart rate for me.
Yeah.
Like 155, like that's high. Like that's what I got. I think my highest heart rate when I ran the 5K was 156, which for a lot of people, that's like still, that's not even that hard. And I don't know, it's just so weird. But that's been something that's been interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Since I've been training like this.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, I definitely would love to like learn more about my own heart rate and how it affects me. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you could easily figure it out. I mean, I have the chest strap. You could wear it, connect it to your iPhone or your watch, and then do. I mean, if you don't want to run, you could do bike sprints or something like that. But like something that you push as hard as you can, and then you find out what your highest heart rate is, and then there you go. Yeah. That's where you find it out from. That's how you like figure that stuff out. Is like you just have to. And so that's what we did. Like we did the ramp test, which is a test that like figures out your FTP, which in triathlon or just in biking, that stands for functional threshold power. And so FTP is like the number that people use for like basically all the bike training that you're doing. Like you'll do like a lot of workouts like 80% of your FTP, or you'll do sprints that are like 120% of your FTP. And like so it's like it's just a number that you use to base a lot of training off of.
Yeah.
But we did this thing called a ramp test, which every minute it just got harder and harder and harder. Like the watts went up and up and up, and you just literally went until you could not go anymore. Like that was it.
So it's kind of like what, like in CrossFit, they look at what's it called, the VO2 max.
Yeah, kind of like that. But it was like, so you did that, and then Natasha, she looked at my heart rate from when I was doing that, because like I was pushing myself as hard as I could to like get as far as I could in it, and she was like, all right, that's your max heart rate on the bike, which is a little bit different than running, because you can get your heart rate up higher running, because it's just I guess it's harder. I think it's because more of your body is being used. I don't know exactly. But usually people will have higher heart rate when they're running than when they're biking. But so we've been using that. But it's just interesting, man. It's been interesting doing a completely different style of training. And I'm like, to be honest, I'm like really scared because
For
I'm
the
doing.
swim?
Yeah, I'm really scared for the swim, because I'm doing the Olympic distance, which is just under a mile swim, and then it's a 25-mile bike, and then a 10K run. The bike and the run, I've done those distances many times, both of them. The run, many times. I used to do 10K runs all the time. The bike, I've done probably at least 10 25-mile bike rides, you know. But the swim, I've gone on a couple swims, and like I've done like a couple laps, and then I'm like done. Like my form is bad. I sink really hard. Like it's not good. So like I think I did the math, and I think the distance of the swim is like 15 laps there and back in a pool, which one of them I'm like dead after. Yeah. So I'm just like, I know, like I think I can do it, but I know I cannot do it right now. I need to practice.
Yeah.
And so but it's scary. Like I'll be in open water and like, but at the same time, like I don't know. It's like something to really push for. So.
How does a coach you to swim virtually?
Well, I think with Natasha, what she has written is like if you can like get someone to at least give you a lesson every month, like if you're really new like me. So I'm assuming that's probably what I'll do. It's like have a person that's there, and then I can tell Natasha, okay, they said I need to work on blah 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 blah, and then Natasha, because she's good at all this stuff, she'll be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. But I'm sure like if that wasn't an option, right, and I couldn't do that, I'd probably just set up a phone and then record myself swimming, and then she'd look at things and be like, okay, this is what we need to do. But it's definitely not ideal. Like it'd be ideal to have someone with you the whole time, but obviously that's just not possible. So
I did swimming a little bit, and I would go with my old Starbucks employee, Kayla Royce, you know.
And she did like water polo.
She did water polo, she did swim, she did all that.
She was a mermaid.
And so we would do things, and she'd be like, all right, now you're going to grab the paddle and you're only going to use your feet.
Yeah.
Go a couple, and then do this. All right, now try to do one lap every time it hits a minute.
So you're just e-momming it, basically.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like, and so I remember doing that, and she had some really like good tips that like I know affected my swimming. Like I was splashing down too much versus like.
Yeah,
like,
swimming is
technical, very technical.
It's no joke, man. Like, and it's scary because I am like, I can push through a run, I can push through a bike, but like swimming, it's like if you get really tired, I don't think I'll drown, but like I will be doggy paddling, right?
Yeah.
Like, or like a lot of people in triathlons, you see it, like I guess a lot of people just end up backstroking, just on their back, kind of like doing this thing.
Trying to catch their breath.
Because it's like, I mean, I guess it's like a joke in triathlon. Like everyone in triathlon sucks at swimming is like what people say. Like, and so like I've had people like, you're in good company. And so I'm like, well, I'm just, you know how I am. I'm anxious. And the fact that I can't practice is frustrating.
Yeah. What's the order?
It's swim, bike, run.
Do you switch shoes?
Yeah, so I mean that's a whole thing. It's called T1 and T2. So T1 transition 1 is from the swim to the bike, and so you like from there, depending on like if you're wearing a wetsuit, if you're not, like you'll have to take your wetsuit off, get your shoes on. A lot of triathletes don't wear socks. I'm sorry, but I'm wearing socks.
Yeah.
Unless like Natasha's like, no, you're not wearing socks, then I guess I won't. But like, I don't know. On the bike, I guess it's a little bit different, but like when I go running, I need to put socks on, dude. Knowing how I am, like I get blisters and it's just.
Yeah.
But like a lot of triathletes, it's like a whole thing is like triathletes don't wear socks. But like some people, when you get really good, they'll have their clip-in pedals clipped into the bike already, and they just run up to their bike, get on it, and then they just start rolling and they get their feet in the. That's like super high level. I'm not going to be doing that, like but
Natasha will do that.
Yeah, I'm sure she probably does that. But like, for me, it's just I'm sure. Like for me, my goal is to finish the first one, but finish in a good way. Like the marathon, I have a picture that I want to post on somewhere, but I have a picture where it's that right before I saw you guys when I did my marathon of my face just. I'm done. And I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like I want to finish, but I don't want to just finish.
Yeah.
Like I want to finish strong.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be like, I need to save as much time on each transition. Like I don't think that's worth really stressing over the first time. Maybe if I do another one or like I'd love to do a half Ironman at some point, I think. A full Ironman just scares the living crap out of me because I did a full Ironman with a marathon, right? And so
is it sprint, Olympic, half full?
Yeah. And each, I think like the sprint is basically half of the Olympic and then the half Ironman is half of the Ironman.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just barely finish. Like I want to finish strong. And so that's kind of my goal. But like I would love to do a half. The full one scares me because it ends with the marathon and it took me 5.5 hours to do my marathon.
That's crazy.
Like, so I know that I'm not at that level yet. I like endurance wise, like my body, I weigh too much. I weigh 215 pounds. Like, it's not gonna happen, you know. Like in any like maybe I could do it, but it would take me a day.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd be walking the whole marathon, right? Like I don't want to do that. Like I want to finish strong. So that's why I didn't like the sprint. I feel like I could have done, but like I felt like that just wasn't, I don't know, this might sound like, I'm not trying to sound full of myself, but it felt like it wasn't that much of a challenge.
Yeah,
it was like a 5K run
you've
at
done
the
a
end.
marathon.
Yeah. It was
Like,
a
for
5K.
me, like, sprint sounds pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because I haven't pushed myself in a challenge like that.
Yeah.
I would just need to borrow your bike.
No, you just get your own. But
I have to buy a Peloton. I can't be buying a marathon bike, too.
dude, I'm down if you want to do it. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think that's why I kind of chose to do the Olympic because it was like I don't think it was too like the marathon.
You
I think
do more things that scare you.
Yeah, like the marathon. I think I bit off too much that I could chew, but it was a good
with an 8-week training, right?
6 weeks.
Yeah. You went. Oh, I'm gonna try a marathon in 6 weeks.
Well, because I didn't like.
I haven't done any training.
I was looking up marathons.
I don't even run.
Yeah, I didn't. I was looking at marathons, and then it was either that one or like a whole year, and I was just like, I'm not gonna freaking. Yeah. I'm too impatient.
Yeah.
And so, I think like.
Remember when our coach Kyle said he'd do it with you, and then you chose one that was 6 weeks payment? No.
Yeah. He said, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Understandable. He's smart, and I'm
yeah,
not.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I think that's why the Olympic makes sense to me. It's not too long, but it's not too short to where it's like I could realistically probably show up to a sprint, and the swim would be really hard, and I'd probably just have to doggy paddle it. But then at the end of that, I'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
The Olympic, I think, is like with me training for it, I could finish it strong. Is like the whole point, right? But it's still scary because that's a freaking almost a mile swim is a lot.
When do you?
I have there's no dates because everything is still closed. But I mean, hopefully
I'd be super interested in it.
Yeah. Hopefully when things start opening up, I can.
I'm really good at cycling, so.
Oh yeah, that's what Apple Plus tells you.
Yeah, exactly. The trick is like the way the burn bar works is it. I don't know if it's guy and girl. Like I don't know if it separates male and female, but like it's just how many calories you burn compared to everyone else in the class. And the Apple Watch has a heart rate tracker and all that stuff, and so. However many calories you've burned compared to other people is where you are on the burn bar. And, like, I always try to make sure that I'm, like, number one. Like, that's my goal every single time. And the trick is you just have to do the newer classes because not a lot of people have done them yet. Once you start doing the ones from, like, November or whatever, you have a lot more data where you're trying to compete against.
Well, I wonder how like if it takes into account everything because like you're gonna burn more calories than Sam is because you're a bigger person.
And
right?
so like if I was Sam,
300 pounds, they're gonna burn a lot more than you are.
Yeah, if I was Sam, I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna try to beat anyone. Like unless it's based on like male female.
I feel like it should. I mean, it would be weird if it wasn't.
Yeah,
because like it would just be like so heavy on one side.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure. Do you put in your you put in information when you join, right? Like I weigh this much.
I don't remember.
You don't know?
I don't remember. I think maybe, but I don't remember. That was like a couple weeks ago. I didn't expect to remember anything
like
that far.
That was a whole lifetime ago, man.
Yeah. Wow, exactly. Cool, dude. But that's that. I mean, got COVID, and I've been riding bikes, and then you've decided to start a triathlon or whatever.
Yep. Well, again. Redecided.
Yeah. Well, you got a coach this time.
Yeah, I have a coach. It's gonna happen. Just when is kind of up in the air still, but I'll keep you guys updated. We'll be talking about it a lot on the podcast, just like we did with the run.
Yeah, when you started doing the marathon, we got like Courtney DeWalter, and
so maybe we'll get some triathletes on here.
Get your coach on maybe sometime.
I'm sure she'd be down to come on. But
we can both just roast you the whole time.
Yeah,
it'd be good.
No, she's nice. Okay, she likes me. She's from South Africa.
Really?
Yeah.
But she lives in Texas.
She lives in Texas, yeah.
Because she coached Nick in person.
Yep.
See, I follow along. Are you going to beat Nick?
No. He's never done it. He's only done Ironman. Literally, that's it.
He's done 2 marathons.
Yeah, he just got his sub 3 hour marathon, dude. That's
Wait, so Ironman?
Easy.
He's done Ironman?
He's done 1, and he's working on a second one.
Oh, okay. Why is he doing 2? Just for the heck of it?
I think because he wants to do better, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because the last one was for his mom.
Well, yeah, and I mean it was his first one, right?
Yeah.
So I think now he's gonna do it again and hopefully get a better time.
But
I'm
there's
assuming.
no like the reason he did a second marathon was to get 3 hours, so sub 3 hours, so that
I mean,
he could
he's
do
done
the
a few
Boston.
marathons, but
Yeah.
the reason he did this one,
Yeah.
the reason he's done any of the past few, I think, is to get
a sub 3 hour. So now he's got a sub 3 hour that was able to allow him to now do the Boston Marathon.
I'm not sure if the course was like official. I know they said they were trying to. I don't know if it happened.
Okay.
But frick, dude, I don't know, sub hour, dude. He literally 2.5 hours shorter than I did.
Yeah, that's wild.
What?
He could have almost done 2 marathons.
Yeah, and the thing is like the fastest marathoners literally could have.
Yeah.
They could have done like 50 plus miles while I was still finishing mine. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Monsters.
All right, guys. Well, we'll talk to you next week.
Peace.
Peace out.